Rimuru, the hero copycat by RimuruEdward6. All for one POV. Her voice echoed across the battlefield, carrying with it an infuriating mix of confidence and mockery. That is the true power of copycat, she declared, her tone steady and triumphant. The power of friendship and teamwork. It's such a beautiful thing, don't you think, everyone? I froze, the audacity of her statement cutting through my focus. She wasn't just speaking to me. No, her words were meant for the audience, the countless eyes watching this fight unfold. Heroes, students, civilians, she was addressing them all. Friendship, I sneered, my voice dripping with disdain. Teamwork. You truly believe such fragile bonds are what give you strength. Rimuru didn't hesitate, her golden eyes blazing with conviction. They're not fragile, father, she replied sharply. They're unbreakable. Because they're built on trust, on belief, on something you'll never understand. Her words stung more than I cared to admit. I launched another attack, a barrage of strikes meant to break her momentum, but she countered with a combination of quirks that was as precise as it was overwhelming. Each move flowed into the next, her strategy flawless. This isn't just me fighting you, she continued, her voice ringing out like a beacon. This is everyone I've learned from, everyone who's shared their strength with me. Their quirks, their support, it's all part of this moment. Her voice slipped into my mind again, quiet but cutting. That's why you'll lose, father. Because your power is built on taking from others. Mine is built on sharing. And that's something you can never replicate. I growled, my anger simmering beneath the surface. You're deluding yourself, I said aloud, my voice sharp. This so-called power of friendship, it's a weakness. One that I will exploit. But she just smiled, calm and unshakable. Weakness, she echoed. No, father. It's the greatest strength of all. And I'm going to prove it. She raised her hand, activating another combination of quirks that sent a surge of energy rippling across the battlefield. It was powerful, coordinated, more than just raw strength. It was a statement. A statement that left no doubt about who was truly in control of this fight. Friendship, I muttered, my fists clenching. Teamwork. I had spent my life building an empire on fear, on dominance. And yet, here she was, dismantling it with something as simple as belief in others. It was maddening, infuriating, and, though I would never admit it, deeply unsettling. Because part of me knew she was right. Izuku Pav. Rimuru's voice rang out across the broadcast, her words sending a wave of emotion through the auditorium. That is the true power of copycat, the power of friendship and teamwork. It's such a beautiful thing, don't you think, everyone? I felt my breath catch, my heart pounding as her declaration hung in the air. Around me, my classmates murmured in disbelief and awe. She's really fighting like this, someone said, their voice barely above a whisper. She's not just using quirks, another added. She's using everyone's strength. I sat frozen, my eyes glued to the screen. Every movement Rimuru made, every quirk she activated, carried a deeper meaning. This wasn't just her fight. It was all of ours. She believes in us, I whispered, the realization hitting me like a lightning bolt. She's showing the world what we can do when we stand together. On the screen, Rimuru continued her relentless assault, cycling through quirks with precision and purpose. Each move was a testament to her message, that strength wasn't about taking, but about sharing. She's incredible, Uraraka said beside me, her voice filled with admiration. She's proving what it means to be a hero, I replied, my chest swelling with pride. Rimuru's voice echoed again, this time softer, but no less powerful. This isn't just about me. It's about everyone I've learned from, everyone who's shared their strength with me. Their quirks, their support, it's all part of this moment. The weight of her words brought tears to my eyes. She wasn't just fighting all for one, she was fighting for us, for every student, every hero, every person who believed in something greater than themselves. That's my quirk she's using, I murmured, my voice trembling. But it's so much more than that. She's showing what we can all become. Beside me, Kaminari nudged my shoulder, a grin breaking through the tension. Your quirk's a big deal, man. She's making it look amazing out there. It's not just my quirk, I said, shaking my head. It's everyone's. She's using all of us to stand against him. The screen flashed with another explosion of energy as Rimuru unleashed a devastating combination of quirks, her golden eyes blazing with determination. She's going to win, I said quietly, my voice filled with certainty. Yeah, Uraraka agreed, her hands clasped tightly. She is. As the broadcast continued, I felt a surge of hope and pride unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Rimuru wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for the future. For all of us. The fight between Rimuru and All for One was reaching its peak, the energy crackling across the battlefield palpable even through the screen. But then, the broadcast shifted. The camera cut to a pre-recorded message, and Hawk's familiar face appeared on the screen. He was sitting in what looked like a quiet office, his expression unusually serious. Hey, everyone, Hawks began, his voice steady but tinged with emotion. Before this fight continues, there's something I need to say. Something Rimuru, copycat, has no idea I'm sharing. The murmurs in the auditorium grew louder as everyone leaned forward, their curiosity piqued. Even I felt my heart race, unsure of what was coming. Hawks took a deep breath before continuing. I want to tell you about the kind of hero Rimuru really is. Not just the one you see on the battlefield today, but the person behind the name Copycat. The room fell silent, his words commanding everyone's attention. She's one of the strongest, smartest, and most determined people I've ever met, Hawks said, his voice softening. But the truth is, her journey to this moment has been anything but fair. He paused, his golden eyes filled with something I could only describe as regret. Rimuru had no home, no money. She took on multiple jobs, just to get food and drinks handed to her. Why? Because the system didn't allow her to earn a paycheck. She was too young to officially be paid, no matter how hard she worked. Gasps rippled through the room, and my own heart clenched painfully. Someone like Copycat, someone with her power, her potential, had to live like that because the system is that messed up, Hawks continued, his tone growing sharper. Because we, as a society, failed her. My hands trembled as I listened, my mind racing. I had known Rimuru was strong, but I hadn't realized just how much she had endured to get here. And yet, Hawks said, a faint smile tugging at his lips, she never gave up. She kept fighting, kept pushing forward, not for herself, but for others. For people like you and me. For a world that didn't give her the respect she deserved. Tears welled up in my eyes as his words sank in. I'm so proud of her, Hawks said, his voice breaking slightly. Not just for what she's doing today, but for the person she's always been. A hero in every sense of the word. He leaned forward, his gaze intense. So, if you're watching this, remember that. Remember what she's fighting for. Because this isn't just a battle against All for One. This is a battle for a better future. One where no one has to go through what Rimuru did. The screen faded back to the battlefield, but Hawk's words lingered in the air, heavy with emotion. Around me, my classmates were silent, their expressions a mix of shock, admiration, and sorrow. She went through all that. Uraraka whispered, her voice trembling. And she's still fighting for us. I nodded slowly, my hands clenching into fists. Yeah, I said, my voice thick with emotion. Because that's who Rimuru is. She's a hero, no matter what it took to get here. And as the battle resumed on the screen, I couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of determination. Rimuru wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for all of us. And it was time we started fighting for her, too. All for one POV. The battlefield crackled with energy as our powers clashed, but then, amidst the chaos, her voice slipped into my mind once again, calm and cutting as ever. It would seem, Father, she began, her tone carrying that infuriating confidence, my final plan has been set in motion. It couldn't have gone better for the mask I'm wearing, wouldn't you agree? I faltered for the briefest of moments, her words slicing through my focus. What are you playing at, Rimuru? I hissed, sidestepping her next attack. She smirked, her golden eyes gleaming as she pressed forward. You always taught me to prepare for every possibility, she said aloud, her voice carrying across the battlefield. To have contingencies for contingencies. I suppose I took your lessons to heart. Her voice slipped into my mind again, softer now but no less deliberate. The mask I wear isn't just for show, Father. It's a symbol, a tool. One that's now working perfectly in my favor. I clenched my fists, a growl escaping my lips. You're speaking in riddles, Rimuru. Explain yourself. She didn't respond immediately, her movements fluid as she dodged my next strike. Then, her voice returned, sharp and calculated. That message from Hawks, she said, the one about my life before now, it wasn't planned by me, but it was perfect. It solidifies the narrative I've been building. A child hero, forged by hardship, fighting for a better world. I froze, her words sinking in. The world already saw me as a symbol of hope, she continued, but now. Now, I'm untouchable. Any move you make against me, any attempt to discredit me, will only make you look weaker. The weight of her plan began to unfold before me, piece by piece. She hadn't just come to fight me. She had come to manipulate the perception of everyone watching, to use this battle as a stage for her story. You're turning this fight into propaganda, I said coldly. She laughed, the sound both light and cutting. Propaganda. Perhaps. Or maybe I'm just telling the truth in a way people can. Chapter 162, The Final Plan. All for one POV. Her voice slipped into my mind once again, calm and insidious, cutting through the chaos of our battle. It would seem, Father, she began, her tone laced with smug satisfaction, my final plan has been set in motion. It couldn't have gone better. I clenched my fists, dodging another of her precise attacks. Final plan. I growled, my tone low and dangerous. What are you scheming now, Rimuru? Her laughter echoed faintly, mocking me in its quiet confidence. Oh, Father, isn't it obvious? The mask I've been wearing, it's perfect, don't you think? I faltered for a brief moment, her words cutting deeper than her attacks ever could. The mask. Was she referring to the image she'd crafted for herself, the hero copycat? What are you playing at? I snarled, deflecting a surge of energy she sent my way. Speak plainly, Rimuru. Her golden eyes gleamed, and though her expression remained composed, I could feel the satisfaction radiating from her. The world sees me as the underdog, Father, she said softly, her voice resonating in my mind. The poor child who overcame every obstacle, who stood tall against the greatest villain of our time. They see a hero who embodies hope, resilience, and unity. She sidestepped my next attack, her movements fluid and calculated. And you, she continued, her voice sharpening. You're the villain who created me, who tried to take everything away. No matter what happens here, Father, the story has already been written. Her words sent a cold chill down my spine, though I refused to let it show. You think you've outmaneuvered me? I growled, my voice low and venomous. This fight isn't over yet. Of course not, she replied smoothly. But that doesn't matter. The mask I've built, the hero copycat, has already served its purpose. The world believes in me now. And they'll never believe you, no matter what you say. Her confidence was infuriating, but I couldn't deny the truth in her words. With every move, every calculated strike, she was solidifying the narrative she wanted the world to see. Your mask will crack, I said, my voice steady despite the storm brewing inside me. And when it does, the world will see you for what you truly are. She smiled faintly, a look of pity crossing her face. Oh, Father, she said softly, the beauty of a mask is that it doesn't need to last forever. Just long enough to finish the game. Her voice faded, leaving me with her parting words echoing in my mind. The fight raged on, but her plan was clear. She had crafted her image so perfectly, so meticulously, that even if I exposed the truth, no one would believe it. She wasn't just fighting me physically, she was dismantling everything I stood for. And for the first time, I felt the cracks forming beneath the foundation of my power. Her voice returned, slipping into my mind like a dagger, sharp and deliberate. You know as well as I do that I'm not the real hero type, Father. Our family secret, right? I gritted my teeth, her words stoking a flame of irritation deep within me. She had a way of speaking that was both infuriatingly casual and disturbingly precise. I mean, she continued, her tone almost playful, no one picks up what I say in your mind. It's just you and me here. And you know what? I'm just a rebel in the end. Nothing else. Her admission hung in the air, a twisted mix of vulnerability and defiance. A rebel. I spat, dodging her next attack and countering with a surge of energy that she deflected with ease. You think that excuses your actions? That it justifies this farce of a performance you've put on for the world? She smirked, a flicker of amusement crossing her golden eyes. It's not about excuses, Father, she said aloud, her voice calm. It's about freedom. I'm not bound by the same rules as you. That's what makes me dangerous. Her voice echoed in my mind again, softer but no less piercing. I don't need to be the perfect hero. I don't need to follow anyone's script, not yours, not theirs. That's the difference between us, father. You build a world where everyone is a pawn. I'm building one where no one has to be. I clenched my fists, her words striking deeper than I cared to admit. You think you're free. I snarled, my voice low and venomous. You've trapped yourself in a web of ideals, of alliances that will crumble the moment you falter. You're no freer than the people you claim to fight for. She laughed, the sound light and mocking. And yet here I am, standing against you, proving that freedom isn't just a concept, it's a choice. And I've already made mine. Her words lingered in my mind, their weight pressing against the foundations of everything I had built. For all her rebellion, for all her defiance, there was something disturbingly effective about her methods. She wasn't just fighting to win, she was fighting to reshape the battlefield itself. And though I would never admit it, part of me knew, she was succeeding. Hawks Pav. The news reached me while I was reviewing the security updates around Rimuru's match. My earpiece buzzed with a report from HQ, and the words that followed nearly made me drop everything. This is HQ, the voice said, tinged with confusion. We've had multiple villains showing up unprompted, at HQ and local precincts, confessing their crimes. I blinked, sure I must have misheard. Wait, what? I asked, leaning closer to the communication device. It's been happening all morning, the voice continued. Villains, some with extensive records, are walking involuntarily, turning themselves over to authorities, and confessing their sins. It's bizarre. My wings twitched as I processed the information. And they're just showing up. No threats. No coercion. None, HQ confirmed. It's like something flipped a switch in them. They're remorseful, cooperative, some even crying as they confess. It's not normal. I couldn't help but glance toward the monitors showing Rimuru's fight. She was still locked in battle with All for One, her every move calculated and precise. This has to be connected, I thought, my mind racing. Rimuru's reach, her influence, it was bigger than anyone realized. But was this her doing? If so, how? Any idea what's causing it? I asked, keeping my voice level despite the unease creeping into my chest. Nothing concrete, HQ admitted. But there's speculation it's related to the copycat situation. Something she said or done might be affecting them. I let out a slow breath, my gaze narrowing as I watched her dodge another of All for One's attacks on the screen. Rimuru had always been unpredictable, always one step ahead. But this was on a whole new level. What are you up to, copycat? I wondered, my mind swirling with possibilities. If she had found a way to turn villains against their own cause, to make them willingly confess, it wasn't just a victory. It was a revolution. Keep me updated, I said into the earpiece, my tone firm. And make sure those confessions are recorded. We might need every detail later. Understood, HQ replied. As the line went silent, I turned back to the monitors, my focus sharpening. Rimuru wasn't just fighting All for One. She was dismantling his empire piece by piece, one unexpected move at a time. And I couldn't help but feel both awe and apprehension. Because whatever she was doing, it was working. Izuku Pav. The auditorium was buzzing with tension as the battle raged on, every move Rimuru made drawing gasps and whispers from my classmates. But then, her voice carried across the broadcast, calm and clear despite the chaos of the fight. You know, everyone, she began, her tone carrying that familiar mix of confidence and mischief, I'm going to blow your mind. I can reveal the biggest secret of the world. The room fell silent, every eye glued to the screen. Quirkless people, she continued, her golden eyes flashing, don't exist. Gasps erupted around me, my own breath catching in my throat. What was she saying? On the screen, Rimuru smirked, sidestepping another of All for One's attacks as she continued. All people who think they were born quirkless actually have quirks. They're just quirks that can't be detected by technology. Like my friend Izuku's quirk. My heart skipped a beat, my eyes widening in shock. You know, she added, her tone almost playful, the one I've been using this whole match. The auditorium exploded into noise, my classmates turning to look at me with expressions ranging from confusion to awe. Wait, what? Kaminari said, his eyes wide. Midoriya has a quirk. No way, someone else murmured. He's always been quirkless. Right. I froze, my mind racing as Rimuru's words sank in. She wasn't just revealing my quirk, she was turning the entire world's understanding of quirks on its head. My friend Izuku's quirk, she continued on the broadcast, dodging another attack effortlessly, has been helping me this entire match. It's a quirk that analyzes everything, situations, tactics, even quirks themselves. That's why I've been able to keep up with All for One. Her voice softened, but it still carried across the battlefield. People like Izuku are living proof that even when the world says you're powerless, you're not. You just need to understand your strength. My chest tightened, tears welling up in my eyes. She wasn't just talking about me, she was talking about everyone who had ever felt left behind, forgotten, or underestimated. She's incredible, Uraraka said beside me, her voice filled with awe. I nodded silently, my gaze locked on the screen as Rimuru stood tall, her golden eyes blazing with determination. So to all of you watching this, she said, her voice firm, remember this, you are never truly powerless. The world just hasn't caught up to your potential yet. The room fell silent again, her words sinking into everyone present. And as I sat there, overwhelmed by the enormity of what she had just revealed, I couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Because Rimuru wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for all of us. The auditorium was in chaos. Rimuru's revelation had sent shockwaves through everyone, and the murmurs of confusion and awe grew louder with each passing second. She said, Midoriya has a quirk. Kaminari stammered, his eyes darting between me and the screen. No way, Mina said, her expression a mix of shock and disbelief. Midoriya's been quirkless this whole time, right? Apparently not, Juro muttered, her brows furrowed as she turned to me. Midoriya, is it true? Do you really have a quirk? I opened my mouth to respond, but nothing came out. My throat felt dry, and my heart was pounding so loudly I could barely hear myself think. She's been using his quirk this entire match, Tokiyami said, his tone thoughtful. That means his quirk must be extraordinary for her to rely on it against someone like All for One. Midoriya. Uraraka's voice broke through the noise, her tone urgent but kind. Why didn't you tell us? If you had a quirk, why hide it? I glanced down at my trembling hands, overwhelmed by the attention and the questions. I didn't know, I admitted quietly. What do you mean you didn't know? Zero asked, leaning forward. I thought I was quirkless, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. My whole life, I thought I didn't have a quirk. But Rimuru, she figured it out. Wait, Yaoyorozu interjected, her voice tinged with curiosity. If she's been using your quirk this whole time, what is it exactly? How is it helping her fight All for One? I swallowed hard, still reeling from Rimuru's words on the screen. It's an analysis quirk, I explained hesitantly. It lets her understand situations, tactics, and even other quirks. She's using it to stay ahead of All for One in the fight. The room fell silent as my classmates processed what I'd just said. That's amazing, Iida finally said, his tone respectful. Your quirk, Midoriya, is incredibly powerful. Powerful and underrated, Shoji added, his voice calm. It's no wonder Rimuru trusted it for this fight. She called it proof, Uraraka said softly, her gaze kind as she looked at me. Proof that no one's powerless. And that includes you, Izuku. I felt tears sting my eyes, overwhelmed by the support and the gravity of Rimuru's words. She had done more than reveal my quirk, she had given me a place in this fight, in this moment. Rimuru's incredible, Mina said, shaking her head in amazement. She's fighting All for One, and she still found a way to make it about everyone else. She's showing the world what heroes are supposed to be, Kirishima added, his voice filled with admiration. I nodded, my chest swelling with pride and gratitude. She's showing the world what we can all be, I said quietly. The broadcast continued, but the energy in the room had shifted. Rimuru's revelation had changed everything, for me, for my classmates, and for everyone watching. And as I sat there, surrounded by their encouragement and awe, I knew one thing for certain. Rimuru had just given the world a new kind of hope. Hawks Pav. I stood near the perimeter, my earpiece buzzing with reports from HQ, but my focus was glued to the broadcast playing on the nearby monitor. Rimuru's voice, steady and confident, carried a weight that felt impossible to ignore. You know, everyone, I'm going to blow your mind. I can reveal the biggest secret of the world. Quirkless people don't exist. I froze, her words cutting through the tension in the air like a blade. Around me, even the other heroes monitoring the area stopped what they were doing, their eyes fixed on the screen. All people who think they were born quirkless actually have quirks. They're just quirks that can't be detected by technology. Like my friend Izuku's quirk, the one I've been using this whole match. My jaw tightened as I processed what she'd just said. Izuku. Midoriya. The kid who everyone thought was quirkless. She continued, explaining how his quirk, analyzing situations, tactics, and quirks, had been the cornerstone of her strategy against All for One. I let out a low whistle, shaking my head in disbelief. Damn, Rimuru, I muttered under my breath. You really know how to drop a bombshell, don't you? Beside me, one of the other heroes monitoring the perimeter spoke up, their tone incredulous. Did she just say quirkless people don't exist? Sounds like it, I replied, my voice steady despite the storm of thoughts swirling in my head. People like Izuku are living proof, Rimuru's voice continued over the broadcast, that even when the world says you're powerless, you're not. You just need to understand your strength. I felt a surge of pride and admiration for her as I listened. She wasn't just fighting All for One, she was dismantling every lie, every misconception that had held people back. She's flipping the script, I said quietly, more to myself than anyone else. She's not just showing strength, she's redefining it. The hero beside me crossed their arms, their expression contemplative. She's giving people hope. The kind of hope that lasts. Exactly, I said, a small smile tugging at my lips. And she's doing it in a way only Rimuru can. But beneath the pride, there was something else, a twinge of guilt. I thought about all the times I'd seen people dismissed, overlooked, written off because they were labeled as quirkless. People like Izuku. How many of them had untapped potential? Rimuru wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for every one of them, giving them a voice, a place, a future. I exhaled slowly, my focus sharpening as I turned my attention back to the perimeter. All right, Rimuru, I muttered. You keep fighting your fight. I'll make sure nothing interrupts you. Because after hearing her words, I knew one thing for certain. She wasn't just challenging All for One. She was changing the world.